What we know about Mark Rogers' fate on Moonshiners, the World of Moonshiners, is one that often blurs the line between fact and fiction, as the show follows individuals who illegally craft moonshine in the Appalachian region. Among the most memorable and intriguing personalities on the show has been Mark Rogers. Known for his wit, charm, and unwavering commitment to the craft of moonshining, Mark Rogers became a fan favorite due to his unique approach to distillation and his relationship with other characters on the show. However, as the seasons have unfolded, fans have been left wondering about his fate and whether or not Mark Rogers is still involved in the world of moonshine. To understand the complexities of his journey, it is crucial to look at his time on the show, the legal and personal challenges he faced, and the mysteries that still surround him today. The rise of Mark Rogers on Moonshiners. When Mark Rogers first appeared on Moonshiners, he was quickly recognized for his passion for crafting high-quality moonshine. His background, as well as his knowledge of the distillation process, set him apart from other moonshiners on the show. Mark wasn't just a moonshiner. He was an artisan who took great pride in his craft. What made Mark stand out was his willingness to teach others, often taking on the role of mentor to younger moonshiners, showing them the ropes, and imparting his wisdom on the finer details of making moonshine. Mark was introduced as a skilled distiller who had learned the art of moonshining from his family. In the Appalachian Mountains, moonshining is more than just a profession, it's a way of life. Mark embraced this heritage wholeheartedly, becoming one of the most respected moonshiners in the area. His strong ties to the region and his deep understanding of its traditions gave him a unique place in the show. Whether he was navigating tricky situations with law enforcement or dealing with the sometimes volatile personalities of other moonshiners, Mark's experience was evident in every episode. A show built on tension and conflict. One of the defining characteristics of Moonshiners is the tension that underpins the show. From the dangers of evading the law to the unpredictability of working with various moonshining partners, there is no shortage of conflict. Mark Rogers' time on the show was no exception. Throughout the seasons, he found himself in a variety of tense and sometimes dangerous situations. Whether dealing with the constant threat of law enforcement or working to perfect his moonshine recipe, the stakes were always high for Mark. One particularly memorable storyline was when Mark found himself at odds with fellow moonshiners. Moonshiners is known for its competitive nature, and Mark often found himself in the midst of disputes over distillation techniques, business practices, and of course, profits. Although these conflicts often made for great television, they also highlighted the immense pressure Mark was under as he navigated both the business and the legal aspects of moonshining. Yet, despite the challenges, Mark's ability to stay calm under pressure and his determination to succeed made him a figure that fans could root for. His quiet resolve and passion for the craft helped him endure the tumultuous world of illegal moonshining. For many, Mark became more than just a character on a reality show. He was a symbol of the rugged resilience and dedication that defined the moonshining culture. Mark Rogers' run-ins with the law. No discussion of Mark Rogers' time on Moonshiners would be complete without addressing his frequent run-ins with the law. The reality of moonshining is that it is illegal, and the show makes no secret of this fact. While some of the moonshiners on the show try to fly under the radar, others, like Mark, have been caught up in various legal issues over the years. Mark's first major legal issue came when authorities began to take notice of his operations. As the show gained in popularity, the spotlight on moonshiners like Mark intensified. Fans of the show may remember Mark's efforts to avoid detection by using creative methods to disguise his stills and moonshine operations. However, as is often the case with illegal activities, the law eventually caught up with him. Despite his best efforts to stay off the grid, Mark found himself facing the consequences of his actions. In one of the more dramatic moments of the series, Mark was forced to navigate a tense standoff with law enforcement officers. As with many moonshiners, the stakes were high. If caught, Mark could face serious legal consequences, including fines and possible jail time. The show's portrayal of these run-ins with the law painted a vivid picture of the risks that come with the moonshining lifestyle. It also showed how the moonshiners had to be resourceful, resilient, and sometimes willing to take risks that most people wouldn't dare consider. What made Mark's situation even more complex was his personal. He was often portrayed as someone who viewed moonshining as part of a long-standing tradition, an almost sacred way of life. He saw his actions not as criminal, but as a continuation of an age-old craft passed down through generations. This mindset put him in direct conflict with authorities who viewed his operations as illegal and dangerous. The fateful decision. Leaving the show us with many reality show stars, Mark Rogers' departure from Moonshiners was shrouded in mystery. Fans were left with unanswered questions about his fate and whether he would return to the show. The departure of a major character like Mark, who had been so central to the series, left a significant void. In interviews, it was suggested that Mark's departure had to do with personal reasons, though specifics were not immediately clear. Some fans speculated that the increasing legal pressures might have been a factor in his decision to leave the show. Others speculated that Mark's desire for privacy and a quieter life led him to step away from the cameras. Whatever the reason, Mark's absence was felt by both fans and the remaining cast members, who often spoke of him fondly. Mark Rogers' departure from Moonshiners left many wondering if he had truly walked away from the moonshining lifestyle altogether, or if he was still continuing to craft his prized spirits in secret. While the show's portrayal of his exit was ambiguous, there were hints that Mark's passion for moonshining had not dimmed. He may have stepped away from the public eye, but his legacy as a master distiller and a key figure in the moonshine community remained intact. Mark Rogers after Moonshiners. Theories and speculations. After Mark Rogers' departure from Moonshiners, fans were left to speculate about his fate. Some wondered if he had continued moonshining in secret, working outside the public eye to craft his moonshine without the risk of being caught by authorities. Given the nature of moonshining, it's likely that Mark continued his craft in some capacity, although without the cameras following his every move. Others speculated that Mark had taken a different path altogether. Perhaps he decided to leave the dangerous world of moonshining behind and pursue a more conventional lifestyle. There were rumors that Mark had started a new business or had even moved to a different part of the country, away from the world of illegal distillation. In interviews after his departure, Mark was somewhat elusive about his future plans. He gave a few vague hints about what he was doing, but he made it clear that he valued his privacy and didn't want to reveal too much to the public. Fans, naturally, were curious, and many hoped that Mark would eventually return to Moonshiners or even begin a new venture in the world of legal moonshining. While the exact details of Mark's life after Moonshiners remain unclear, there is little doubt that his time on the show left a lasting impact. His journey from a passionate moonshiner to a beloved television personality was one filled with highs and lows, challenges, and triumphs. For many, Mark Rogers remains a symbol of the old-school moonshining lifestyle, a testament to the craft and the people who continue to practice it. Conclusion. The enigmatic legacy of Mark Rogers' time on Moonshiners was a compelling blend of skill, danger, tradition, and personality. His story reflected the complexities of the moonshining world, a world where passion and risk often collide. Through his appearances on the show, Mark became not just a character but a representative of the moonshining culture, a world that thrives on secrecy, resilience, and a deep connection to tradition. While Mark Rogers may no longer be a central figure on Moonshiners, his legacy as one of the most skilled and knowledgeable moonshiners to ever appear on the show endures. His fate remains somewhat mysterious, and while the details of his life after the show are still unclear, one thing is certain. Mark's story is far from over. Whether he's continuing to distill moonshine in secret or pursuing a new chapter in his life, the mark he left on Moonshiners and the moonshine community will not be easily forgotten. The question of Mark Rogers' fate on Moonshiners may never be fully answered, but that's part of what makes him such a fascinating figure. In a world built on secrecy and tradition, Mark's story is one that continues to captivate fans and spark curiosity. Whatever his next move may be, it's clear that Mark Rogers will always be remembered as one of the most intriguing characters to ever grace the screens of Moonshiners.